Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. This is part 2 of the curio build. So if you haven't seen part 1 yet, which is the whole base unit, how I built that, go back on the channel and check out part 1. Part 2 is going to be consisting of building these upper cases with the adjustable shelves, the top, the edge banding, the doors with glass panels. As you can see, I haven't installed the hinges yet because I'm getting ready to prep for paint now. While you're enjoying the build of the video, I'm going to prep the paint, and at the end of the video, you'll see me spray the whole unit. So I have a spacer block here just showing you what it's going to look like. So it's going to be 4 doors on top. We're going to install some hardware, and that's it.
First, I'll get started by making the face frames. Over at the miter saw, I'll set up a stop block and cut all the face frames to length. Then I'll head over to the table saw and rip them all down to 2 inches in width. Once I have my pieces ripped to the face frame, I'll join them together with pocket screws. It's a quick and easy way to make face frames. Once I've assembled the face frames, I now have the measurements I need to make the carcass, so it's over to the track saw to cut the parts to length. Once I have the pieces for the carcass roughed out on the track saw, I can bring it over to the table saw and rip them down to the exact size I need and trim off any rough edges. Once I have all the parts cut, before assembly, I like to pre-sand everything, because once it's assembled, you're never going to get into those corners the way you need to. Now at this point before assembly, I'm also going to drill the shelf pin holes. Now you could do this one of 2 ways. If you've seen part 1, you'll know that sometimes I do it after the carcass is assembled. In this case, the top is a little bit taller, so I'm just going to do it before I assemble it. And now it's on to assembly of the case, and I'm assembling it using pocket screws. Now that the case is assembled, I can install the 1/4 inch back, so a little glue and some staples will hold it in place. Now some glue all around, and then I can nail off the face frames. So now that I have the upper case done, what I'm going to do is start to mill the lumber for the doors, because I got my measurements that I need. Once I finish milling all the parts for the doors, I can head over to the miter saw and use the stop block to cut them into all equal parts so everything is completely square and all the doors will be the same size.
Okay guys, so now that I have the doors made and all sanded down, before I start to wrap it out for the glass panel, I want to know where my cup hinges or concealed hinges are going to sit. So being that this door is going to have a glass panel and it's longer, it's going to be pretty heavy. So I want 3 hinges on this door. So the top hinge and the bottom hinge, it's easy. All I'm going to do is just line the jig up with the end, and that'll bring me in 4 inches from each end. Now the middle, what I'll do is mark out the door is 35 long, so we're going to go 17 and a half. I'm going to make a tick mark there, and then I'm just going to transfer that line across the whole thing with my combination square. Just a light line so that the center of the jig can be lined up with that, and I'll know that on every door, every center hinge will be in the same spot. So now we're going to drill out. For those, I'll start from the ends, and then I'll move into the center as I go.
Now I'll set the depth of the router bit to compensate for the thickness of the glass and the clip that's going to hold it in the door. I'll start with a climb cut with the router to reduce tear out. Once the doors are made and the glass panels are cut, it's over to the table saw so that I can cut the shelves and the edge banding.
Okay, now for the shelves, the way I'm going to edge band these is I cut these pieces to 7/8. They're 3/4 of an inch thick. So now I'm going to turn them on edge and have the 7/8 side up vertically. What I'm going to do is cut a small rabbet in the front of the edge banding, and what that's going to do is when I sit it against the front of the shelf, it's going to give me a little lip and hook on the bottom of the shelf. And I want it to be level on the top. I want it to be flush, just like this. I want it to be flush to the top of the shelf, and then I want that little rabbet to sit underneath. That's going to give me support for the shelves. Being so long, the top shelves, they're a little more than, they're about 30 and 11/16 the shelves in length, and they're going to have statues and trinkets and stuff like that on there. So I don't want them to sag at all. So one of the ways that we can do that is to use the solid wood edge banding, but not only to just have it, nailed in, glued into the front of the shelf, but to have a little support rabbet from underneath that'll act, as a support for the length of it, so it won't sag over time. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I've already set it just to that little 1/8 inch, the thickness of the blade. And now to get the height that I need of the blade, I'm going to take a scrap piece of the cutoff from the shelf, and I'm going to lower the blade just until the top of the tooth is completely flush with the top of the plywood. Okay guys, so now the way this works is simple. I'm going to run a bead of glue, then I'm going to take the edge with the lip, butt it right up against the bottom of that shelf. It's going to hook on there, and you're going to see it's just slightly proud of the shelf. It's just enough for me to sand it off completely flush and give the shelf that, not only that, little lip to hook onto the shelf pins, but it's also going to give it that extra little bit of strength that you're going to have in the middle to keep it straight and rigid over time and not sag. So let's run a bead of glue on this.
Put it on there. Tack this end in right here. Down here to this end. Tack it in.
Now that the cabinet and all the parts have been painted, I'm going to remount all the hardware. Gotta put the door bumpers on again, especially since the upper case has glass in the doors. Definitely don't want that banging against that case, shattering the glass. Somebody slams it closed. You want to take some of the impact. So this door is going to get upper and lower. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to mount the hardware to the doors. I'll start with the upper doors, and you can see this is a long handle spaced evenly on this hardware installation jig, and this is going to make it a little bit easier for me to line everything up and drill the holes exactly where they need to be. Okay guys, well that's it for this build. I hope everybody enjoyed it. It came out really nice. I hope the client likes it. I'm going to install it in the house tomorrow. So if you're watching this, it's already in there. I'm going to be uploading the photos to my Instagram and my Facebook. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up if you like the video. I hope you guys got a lot of woodworking techniques out of this. If you didn't see part 1 where I built the bottom, the base, go ahead and check that out. That's the last video on my YouTube channel. In the next series of videos, what I'm going to do is I have a lot of jobs to do, and there's a lot of built-ins, and I got to start to move a little faster, and filming these things is slowing me down. So what I'm going to do is, instead of doing a complete step-by-step as I'm building, what I'm going to do is a series of videos on showing you how to use the certain tools that I use. So if you are using a cabinet hardware jig, for instance, the way I used that jig to install these handles, perfect. On the top and the bottom with the stop block and all that stuff that it has, the drill guides. If you want to learn how to use the concealed hinge jig, I'm going to be doing a video on that, a video on the domino machine, on the Festool domino, a video on the biscuit joiner, and all the table saw techniques and all that stuff is going to be in the next upcoming video series. So definitely stay tuned for that. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time, either out in the field or in the shop. As always, thanks for watching.